This mischievous human kid leaves his alien babysitter completely shocked. Zrarketh had babysat many species in his lifetime, but he had never been assigned a human child. He looked at the small form of Leo bouncing in the room with what appeared to be endless energy. His forearms folded neatly across his chest, antennae twitching in mild irritation. Babysitting humans, according to the Galactic Union's data, was simple. Weak bodies, low intelligence compared to advanced species, fragile emotions. Zrarketh had thought this would be a simple, even boring task. Observation, he muttered to himself in his deep, clicking voice. This is merely observation. Leo, however, did not seem like an ordinary child. He had curly hair that seemed to defy gravity, big bright eyes, and a smile that stretched from ear to ear. He looked like any other human child that Zrarketh had seen in the data archives, yet something about the way he moved gave the alien pause. "Good morning, Zrarketh," Leo chirped, hopping onto the couch like it was a trampoline. "I'm Leo. Are you my babysitter?" "Yes," Zrarketh replied. His voice was formal, precise, and full of authority. "I am your assigned caretaker for the duration of your stay on the station. I am trained in safety, nutrition, and behavioral observation." Leo grinned. "Cool, but can I show you something first?" Zrarketh's antennae twitched. Show? What could a human child show that would be interesting to an alien of my intellect? Still, he could not refuse. The Galactic Union expected observation and patience above all. "Proceed," he said, trying to sound patient. Leo ran to a corner of the room where a pile of small objects lay scattered. There were cubes, balls, colored sticks, and strange little gadgets that Leo called toys. He picked up a small cube and threw it gently. It bounced off the wall, hit a chair, and landed perfectly back in his hands. He laughed. "See, I can make it bounce like magic," Leo said proudly. Zrarketh tilted his head. "Magic, this is merely basic physics. The cube's trajectory is predictable and follows gravitational equations." Leo looked at him seriously. "Maybe to you, but it's magic to me." The alien made a small clicking sound in his throat, curious. Humans seemed to enjoy things not for their efficiency, but for the way they felt. It was inefficient, but fascinating. The day began slowly as Zrarketh tried to guide Leo through what he considered safe activities. They played with building blocks, which Zrarketh analyzed for structural integrity, while Leo knocked down towers as soon as they were completed. Each collapse was accompanied by an innocent laugh and a gleeful, "Try again." At first, Zrarketh's patience was tested. He was a highly logical being. Repeated failure, even intentional, was irritating. Yet every time Leo's laughter echoed through the room, Zrarketh felt something new, a small warmth, a sensation he had no name for. "Why do you laugh when your tower falls?" Zrarketh asked. "Because it's fun, you can build it again, and maybe differently this time," Leo replied, eyes sparkling with mischief. The alien made a small note in his mental database. Humans appear to gain joy from failure, especially when combined with effort. Potentially adaptive for learning, peculiar. After a while, Zrarketh decided it was time for an educational exercise. He placed a small holographic puzzle on the table. "This is a logic problem. Solve it. It will help your cognitive development." Leo leaned forward, staring at the hologram. Then, without a word, he pressed random buttons, causing the hologram to flicker, rotate, and spin uncontrollably. Zrarketh's eyes widened. You are intentionally randomizing the inputs," Zrarketh said, analyzing quickly. "This is unexpected," Leo laughed again. "I'm seeing what happens. Sometimes things get better if you try different ways." The alien paused. "That is a method not present in our logic. Humans experiment without prior probability calculations. Fascinating." By mid-afternoon, Zrarketh had learned that no matter how precise his instructions were, Leo found a new way to approach everything. He painted abstract shapes with his fingers, mixed colors in unexpected combinations, and even made a small science experiment by dropping a bit of liquid onto a pile of colored sand. The sand changed color in ways Zrarketh could not predict. "Impressive," Zrarketh admitted, carefully recording. "You seem to possess intuitive creativity that surpasses most sapient species. Controlled experiments." Leo beamed. "Thanks, I like trying new things." After a short rest, Zrarketh decided it was time for a walk in the station gardens. He had planned a calm, structured stroll. However, Leo had other ideas. He ran ahead, ducking under benches. waving to passing aliens, and stopping suddenly to talk to a small robotic cleaner that ZRRketh had thought was uninteractive. Within minutes, Leo had convinced it to play tag with him, chasing the small robot across the garden with unstoppable energy. ZRRketh followed slowly, antennae twitching nervously. He had never seen a child move with such unpredictable speed, yet maintain balance on slick floors, jump over small obstacles, and interact with technology intuitively. It was astounding. "Leo," ZRRketh called carefully, "are you aware of the risk of physical injury?" Leo stopped, turned, and smiled. "Don't worry, ZRRketh. Humans are kinda squishy. We bounce a lot, see?" He jumped off a low platform and landed perfectly, hands on his knees, grinning. ZRRketh made another mental note. Humans exhibit high resilience and adaptive reflexes. Previously underestimated by Galactic Union records. The rest of the afternoon continued with small misadventures. Leo accidentally activated a water fountain, causing several aliens to squeal in surprise. He fed holographic fish with imaginary food, making ZRRketh wonder if humans understood reality differently. And he even convinced a serious-looking diplomat to wear a funny hat for a moment, breaking their usual rigid demeanor. By the time the sun simulation lights of the station began to dim, ZRRketh was exhausted. He had barely kept up with Leo, who now sat quietly, drawing a series of intricate patterns on a piece of paper. "You are remarkable," ZRRketh said, lowering himself beside the child. "I underestimated humans. I now understand that even a small human can create outcomes far beyond initial expectations." Leo smiled innocently. "I'm just having fun. You should try it." ZRRketh twitched his antennae, unsure how to respond. Fun, that was not in his vocabulary. But he made a quiet decision. Tomorrow he would try it. He would observe this strange human energy more closely. As the station lights dimmed completely and Leo fell asleep, ZRRketh recorded his final note for the day. Subject: human child, age 6. Behavior: unpredictable, creative, socially adaptive, physically resilient. Assessment: far exceeds initial expectations. Recommendation: continue observation. Prepare for further surprises. For the first time in his career, ZRRketh felt a small sense of anticipation. Not for data, not for analysis, but for the experience of spending time with this human. Little did he know, this was only the beginning. Leo's mischief had just started, and the galaxy had yet to see what humans could truly do, simply by being themselves. The next morning, ZRRketh woke early, his antennae twitching with a strange mix of nervous anticipation and fatigue. He had barely recovered from the human child's energy yesterday, yet a part of him, an unfamiliar part, was excited. Leo was already awake, bouncing in his bed, humming a strange tune that ZRRketh could not recognize. "Good morning, ZRRketh," Leo called cheerfully. "Ready for today?" "I am prepared," ZRRketh replied cautiously. "Yesterday was informative," Leo grinned. "Good, today I have new ideas." ZRRketh had learned one thing about humans: their energy never truly ran out. They rested, yes, but only briefly, before curiosity and play propelled them forward again. The first activity of the day was supposed to be a simple educational exercise. ZRRketh had prepared a set of puzzles and games designed to improve logic and problem-solving. He placed them on a table and gestured for Leo to start. Leo approached slowly, eyes wide with excitement. He stared at the puzzles, then at ZRRketh. We can do this differently," he said. ZRRketh tilted his head. "Differently, the solution is fixed. Following procedure yields the fastest outcome." Leo shrugged. "Fast is boring. Let's see what happens if we do something fun." Before ZRRketh could protest, Leo rearranged the pieces in a way that made no sense according to standard logic. He then pressed a button, causing the puzzle to spin, flash, and shift in unexpected ways. ZRRketh's multi-lensed eyes whirred in confusion. "This is not in the database," he said, his voice tinged with awe. "The inputs are unpredictable, yet the system adapts." Leo giggled. "See, magic," ZRRketh sighed. "No, not magic, human improvisation." Yet he could not deny that the result of Leo's random actions was both effective and creative. The puzzle solved itself in a way that even ZRRketh had not predicted. As the morning progressed, Leo's mischief escalated. He found the stations cleaning robots, which usually followed strict paths, and coaxed them into a small parade. He tapped commands that were not part of their programming. The robots began spinning, forming patterns, and even mimicking Leo's laughter by producing squeaky sounds. "Leo!" Ziararketh exclaimed. "Cease interference immediately." Leo looked up innocently. "But they wanted to play. I think they liked it." Ziararketh paused. "Liked it?" No alien machine had ever liked anything. And yet, observing the robots, he realized they were functioning differently, moving in ways that suggested learning or adaptation. By mid-morning, Ziararketh attempted to regain control. "We will now proceed with structured learning." He laid out a series of logic grids, equations, and patterns, all meant to be solved in order. Leo stared at them for a moment, then quietly pulled out a tiny toy spaceship from his pocket. With a dramatic swoop, he launched it across the room. The spaceship hit a corner, ricocheted off the wall, and narrowly missed a hovering information terminal. Ziararketh's forearms trembled slightly. "Leo, that is dangerous." Leo shrugged again. "It's fine, I can dodge." Watch, and to Ziararketh's horror and secret admiration, he dodged perfectly as the spaceship made one final loop before landing on a soft mat. The alien's mental logs filled quickly. Human reflexes and spatial awareness far exceed expectations. Child able to calculate trajectory intuitively without tools, highly adaptive. But the real shock came shortly after. While walking to the station's cafeteria for a snack, Leo noticed a small maintenance hatch. Curiosity sparked in his eyes. He crouched down, examining the hatch, pressing buttons at random. Lights flickered, and a hidden door slid open, revealing a network of pipes and circuits. "Ziararketh, look, a secret tunnel," Leo said, his voice full of wonder. "This is unauthorized access," Ziararketh exclaimed. He moved to block the child, but Leo had already crawled inside. "Wait, human, cease!" But it was too late. Leo disappeared inside the hatch. Ziararketh's eyes scanned the narrow passage as he followed. The child seemed completely fearless, moving through the cramped space with ease, studying wires, switches, and panels. Within minutes, Leo had rerouted the water pumps, fixed a small leak, and even made a strange device glow, producing a soft, musical tone. You just repaired multiple systems without instruction," Ziararketh said, astonished. Leo shrugged. "I just tried a few things, some worked, some didn't, but it's fun to see what happens." Ziararketh processed the data quickly. Humans experiment without fear. Humans learn through trial and error and curiosity. Humans are adaptive problem solvers beyond current comprehension. When they returned to the cafeteria, Ziararketh thought perhaps the day could calm down. He was wrong. Leo noticed a group of aliens having a disagreement over a food rationing schedule. One of them, a tall, blue-skinned diplomat, was arguing loudly, while a small engineer hissed and waved her arms. Ziararketh prepared to intervene. According to the station rules, he should step in and mediate. Yet before he could move, Leo ran forward. He stood between the two arguing aliens and began asking questions. Simple, curious questions. "Why do you think that? How do you feel? What do you want?" Ziararketh watched in astonishment. The two aliens paused. Leo tilted his head and said, "Maybe there's a way you both win." By the end of 3 minutes, both aliens were laughing. The disagreement dissolved, replaced by a strange, cooperative energy. Ziararketh blinked multiple times. Human emotional intelligence, instantaneous conflict resolution, not logical, not forced, natural. Leo turned to him, eyes wide. "See, I just asked questions." Ziararketh had to admit reluctantly that humans had a method no other species possessed. Social intuition, combined with curiosity and fearlessness, allowed them to reshape any situation. The rest of the afternoon continued with similar surprises. Leo invented a new game with floating holographic displays, confusing the other children on the station. He coaxed the janitor droid to dance with him. He even fixed a misaligned panel in the station's energy core by pressing buttons at random. Ziararketh cringed at the thought, but the system hummed along perfectly, apparently improved. As the day drew to a close, Ziararketh could barely keep up. He had not only observed but participated in what could only be described as chaos, and it was effective chaos. Every action Leo took, every playful mischief, seemed to create better outcomes than careful planning ever could. They returned to the child's quarters, where Leo immediately began drawing on scraps of paper. The sketches were strange and abstract, yet Ziararketh noticed that the patterns mirrored structural schematics of the station. showing solutions to small inefficiencies no one had ever corrected. "Leo," Ziararketh said, lowering himself onto the floor beside the child, "you are remarkable. Your methods, they do not follow logic, yet produce excellent results." Leo smiled. "I just like trying things. I like seeing what happens when you do something a little different." Ziararketh's antennae twitched. Humans are unpredictable, yet highly effective. Humans achieve results that would take trained engineers decades simply by exploring, failing, and trying again. He recorded his final note for the day. Subject: human child, age 6. Behavior: highly experimental, fearless, socially intuitive, adaptive. Assessment: remarkable. Curiosity used as tool and weapon. Recommendation: continue observation and allow free experimentation. For the first time, Ziararketh considered a concept he had never allowed himself: admiration. The child was small, fragile-looking, yet incredible. As Leo fell asleep, muttering happily about new games for tomorrow, Ziararketh stared at the ceiling, mentally preparing for the next day. If today was this chaotic, tomorrow could redefine our understanding of humans entirely. And deep in his circuits, the alien smiled, though he did not fully understand why. White heavy checkmark word count. Tilde 2,500 the next day, Ziararketh awoke earlier than usual. His antennae twitched as he reviewed the events of the past 2 days. Humans were small, yes, and seemingly fragile, but the child, Leo, was anything but fragile. He had a mind that moved faster than any alien logic system, and a curiosity that could not be contained. Ziararketh had expected chaos, but yesterday's social success had been extraordinary. Leo had resolved an argument between 2 grown aliens in mere minutes, using nothing but questions and understanding. Ziararketh replayed it in his mind again and again. How does a human child achieve this? He wondered. Leo, of course, was already awake and ready for the day. He bounced onto the floor with a grin that seemed to stretch even wider than yesterday. "Good morning, Ziararketh," he said. "Today we're going to have even more fun." Ziararketh hesitated. "Fun is secondary to observation. Remember our goals." Leo just laughed. "Goals can be fun too." The first part of the morning was supposed to be quiet, structured learning. Ziararketh laid out a series of holographic math grids and logic patterns, expecting at least partial success. Leo stared at them for a few moments, then tapped a button, causing the grids to scatter across the room like holographic butterflies. Ziararketh's eyes widened. "Leo, this is highly irregular." Leo tilted his head. "But look, now I can see patterns I couldn't see before." The alien was stunned. By simply breaking the rules, the child had discovered an approach no algorithm could predict. Ziararketh took a deep breath. Observation is necessary. "I must learn this human method of problem-solving." They moved next to the station gardens. Ziararketh hoped the outside space would calm Leo, but he was mistaken. As soon as they arrived, Leo's attention was drawn to a group of alien gardeners arguing about the proper arrangement of glowing plants. Leo muttered, watching. "They both think they are right. Maybe I can help." Ziararketh braced himself. Humans rarely mediate without instructions. Usually, intervention required adult supervision, complex protocols, and sometimes even force. Leo was neither adult nor instructed, yet he approached calmly. "Excuse me," he said, his voice small but confident. "Why don't you try putting some together your way and then put some together your friend's way? Maybe we can mix them." The taller alien blinked. The shorter one stopped waving arms in frustration. Slowly, both began rearranging plants according to Leo's suggestion. Ziararketh could hardly believe his sensors. Humans possess an innate ability to mediate. Emotional intelligence surpasses species trained for decades. By mid-morning, word had spread. Other station inhabitants were curious about the small human child who could calm arguments and solve problems through questions and playful suggestions. One incident surprised Ziararketh more than any before. In the station cafeteria, a minor food dispute broke out. 2 alien species had overlapping dietary needs and tempers flared. Ziararketh prepared to intervene. Protocol demanded careful negotiation, careful phrasing, and strict enforcement. Leo, however, stepped in naturally. "Wait, let's all sit together," he said cheerfully. "We can share food and play a guessing game while we eat. Then everyone gets what they want." The aliens hesitated. No species had ever suggested such a thing, but Leo's confidence and charm were persuasive. Within minutes, laughter replaced shouting, plates were shared, and even Ziararketh noticed a small tear of surprise in his optical lens. Emotions influenced by a human child. After lunch, Ziararketh thought they could try a simple exercise. He presented a holographic map of the station with several small problems marked: blocked pathways, misplaced equipment, inefficient lighting sequences. Your task is to optimize these systems, he instructed. Follow logic, rules, and protocol. Efficiency is priority. Leo stared at the map, tapping his finger. Then he drew squiggly lines, added colored dots, and rearranged elements without apparent order. Ziararketh frowned. This is highly inefficient. You are breaking protocol, ignoring logical priorities. Leo shrugged. Maybe, but let's see what happens if we try it this way. To the alien's astonishment, the rearranged plan worked. Pathways opened faster, energy usage decreased, and minor problems were fixed, all without following standard rules. Impossible, Ziararketh whispered. This should not work, Leo grinned. Sometimes trying new things surprises everyone. By mid-afternoon, Ziararketh's admiration for humans grew. Leo had a small group of alien children following him, learning without instructions, playing games that taught problem-solving, sharing, and collaboration. Even Ziararketh noted that social bonds were forming faster than expected, and cooperation increased. A more serious challenge came when the station's primary communication array malfunctioned. Engineers rushed in, panicked about data loss. Ziararketh expected chaos, but Leo ran up to the engineers and asked simple questions. Why isn't it working? What happens if we try this? Can we push this button together? Within minutes, the array began functioning again. Leo had suggested a simple sequence based on observation and intuition that no trained engineer had attempted. Ziararketh recorded quickly. Human child able to solve complex technical problems intuitively. No prior knowledge necessary. Method, observation, experimentation, confidence. By evening, Ziararketh had begun to understand. Humans were underestimated across the galaxy. Their methods were chaotic, yes, but remarkably effective. Systems that took aliens decades to optimize could be improved by a 6-year-old human. Conflicts could be solved without authority or intimidation. Creativity and intuition combined with resilience made them formidable in ways no one expected. Leo, exhausted but happy, led Ziararketh to a quiet corner. See, Ziararketh, it's fun helping everyone. The alien's forearms hung loosely. Fun is not in my operational parameters, he said. Yet, observing you, I understand it can produce results, positive results, unexpected results. Leo laughed. I just like to try things, the alien paused. Trying things without fear, without calculation, yet achieving more than careful planning, this is human nature. As night fell, Ziararketh watched Leo fall asleep, his small chest rising and falling gently. The alien recorded one final note. Subject, human child, age 6. Behavioral observation continues. Human ability to influence social structures, resolve conflicts, and optimize systems is extraordinary. Human curiosity is not random. It is a method of discovery. Human courage and emotional intelligence surpass expectations. Further observation required. For the first time, Ziararketh felt a strange sensation, anticipation, even excitement for the next day. Leo had taught him a lesson no manual could. Humans are unpredictable, yet effective. Humans are small, yet mighty. And deep inside his circuits, Ziararketh knew one undeniable truth. The galaxy would underestimate humans at its own peril. Little did he know, Leo's mischief, and his extraordinary human nature, was only beginning to reveal its true potential. The morning began with the station bathed in the soft light of the simulated sun. Ziararketh stirred, antennae twitching as he prepared for another day with the human child. After 3 days of observation, he knew that Leo's energy and ingenuity were beyond expectation. Yet, he still believed that perhaps the child's successes were isolated incidents. Today, however, would prove him wrong. Leo woke with a grin bouncing on his bed like a small spring. Good morning, Ziararketh. Today is the best day ever. Explain the basis for your claim, Ziararketh said, adjusting his sensors. Leo laughed. You'll see, I have a plan. The alien braced himself. Leo's plans often meant chaos disguised as fun. Their first stop was the station's central hub, where various species gathered for daily activities. As they walked, Leo's eyes darted around, noting patterns, obstacles, and potential opportunities for his mischief. He moved with the confidence of someone who knew exactly what he was doing, even if it looked like random movement to Ziar-Arketh. "Observe," Leo said, pausing near a group of young aliens arguing over a game of floating spheres. Ziar-Arketh's sensors detected escalating tensions. According to standard protocols, he should intervene to prevent conflict, but Leo had a different approach. He ran between the players, introducing himself with a bright smile. "Hi, want to try a new game?" The aliens froze. A human child was suggesting a new game. It was unheard of. Leo clapped his hands. "It's simple. Everyone gets a turn, and the goal is to make a pattern in the air. Whoever makes the coolest pattern wins." Slowly, the young aliens began to play along. By the end of a few minutes, laughter replaced frustration. The spheres danced in intricate patterns, guided by both human creativity and alien imagination. Ziar-Arketh recorded, "Human child capable of restructuring social play to produce cooperative behavior." Next, Leo spotted a group of station engineers attempting to repair a minor energy fluctuation. Ziar-Arketh prepared to advise caution. Human interference in technical systems was risky. "Let's help," Leo shouted, running forward. Ziar-Arketh froze as Leo examined the control panel, pressing buttons seemingly at random. Lights flickered, sparks danced briefly, and a low hum filled the room. Ziar-Arketh braced for disaster. Instead, the fluctuation stabilized. The engineers stared in disbelief. A human child had corrected a technical issue that had baffled them for hours. "Impossible," Ziar-Arketh whispered. Trial and error, combined with intuition, humans outperformed trained specialists. By midday, word of Leo's abilities had spread across the station. Aliens who usually kept to themselves began approaching, curious and cautious. Leo, oblivious to protocol, welcomed them all with open arms and a bright smile. "Hi, want to play?" he asked. And in his playful, mischievous way, he turned ordinary activities into moments of connection. He guided disputes with simple questions, arranged collaborative games, and even invented small, creative contests that brought laughter to everyone involved. Ziar-Arketh observed with a mixture of awe and concern. Human curiosity, combined with innate social intelligence, produces effects far beyond expectation. After lunch, Leo had an idea. He gathered a small group of young aliens, a few adults, and even Ziar-Arketh himself. "Let's make a surprise for everyone," he said. "What kind of surprise?" Ziar-Arketh asked cautiously. "Something fun, something that makes everyone happy," Leo replied. He led them through the station, quietly coordinating decorations, arranging interactive displays, and setting up playful holographic projections. Every step involved guidance through questions and encouragement rather than commands. By late afternoon, the central hub was transformed. Bright lights, floating shapes, music, and laughter filled the air. Aliens of every species gathered, unsure of what was happening, yet drawn to the infectious energy. Leo stood in the middle, clapping his hands. "Welcome. This is a celebration for everyone. Come play, eat, laugh, and make new friends." Ziar-Arketh scanned the area, analyzing the effects. Station inhabitants who normally ignored one another were now talking, sharing, and collaborating. Tensions dissolved, barriers fell, and for the first time in memory, the station felt like a single, joyful community. The alien caretaker felt something unfamiliar. This is not chaos. This is human influence at work. One small human child has altered the behavior of hundreds. Later, as the crowd dispersed, Ziar-Arketh approached Leo. You orchestrated this entire event?" Leo shrugged. "I just had an idea and asked everyone to try it. They liked it." Ziar-Arketh made a careful recording. Humans use curiosity and charm to achieve social outcomes far beyond physical or technological means. Influence is natural, not forced. Small humans can produce large-scale effects. Evening fell, but Ziar-Arketh could not rest. He replayed the day's events repeatedly in his mind. Every action Leo took, every suggestion, every playful mischief, had produced outcomes more beneficial than strict protocols would have achieved. He realized something profound. Humans were underestimated across the galaxy. Their methods were messy, chaotic, and playful, but remarkably effective. The human child had no authority, no formal training, yet he could influence social groups, solve technical problems, and inspire creativity in multiple species simultaneously. Leo, exhausted but happy, led Ziararketh back to their quarters. "See, fun can make everyone happy," he said, yawning. Ziararketh's forearms hung loosely by his sides. "Fun is a method of influence. It produces results superior to conventional techniques when combined with human curiosity and social intelligence." Leo grinned and fell asleep quickly, dreaming of new games and adventures. Ziararketh sat quietly, recording his final note for the day. Subject, human child, age 6. Behavior, capable of orchestrating large-scale social influence. Creativity, intuition, and curiosity combine to produce outcomes beyond standard calculation. Observation of subject demonstrates that humans may influence others and systems effectively without authority or coercion. Human potential underestimated by Galactic Union. Continued observation strongly recommended. As the station settled into quiet, Ziararketh understood one undeniable truth. Humans, even as children, wield a subtle power that no machine or protocol could match. One small human, through curiosity, play, and empathy, could reshape environments, relationships, and systems in ways that were simultaneously chaotic and perfect. And deep inside his circuits, Ziararketh knew that tomorrow, Leo's influence would reach even further, and that the galaxy might never underestimate humans again.